Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Cowboys StoryLine. I am Nick Eatman. It is Tuesday, June the 4th. Big day in our home because it is birthday for my 4-year-old. And she's let everyone know for the last month that her birthday is June 4th. And here we are today. So happy birthday to Camilla. She's turning 4. Good stuff there. Good stuff here. We got a mini camp practice. First day of rookie mini camp. Not everybody was in attendance. No CeeDee Lamb, which was a little surprising. I thought maybe we would not only have him here, but I thought we would be talking about a contract or so. I still believe that we're probably sooner than later on a deal for him. Micah Parsons was here. Micah Parsons, not at first, had everyone looking around, and then all of a sudden he comes running in. We had everything but music, he needed that, like, where's Micah? It would have been cool to have that because that's kind of the way he ran in onto the field. He practiced, so that was good to see him. First role practice in Mike Zimmer's defense. It kind of looked, more of the same of what you've seen. You've seen him on the edge and standing up more than anything. So it'll be fun to watch what Zimmer does with him throughout the time. Let me, before we get too far down the road here of talking about mini camp and stuff like that, I have to mention my thoughts on a just unbelievably tragic loss that the Cowboys and the NFL and all of football and more than anything, his own family, the loss of Larry Allen. It's hard to describe. It's hard to put words in there because Larry didn't lose. He didn't lose anything. I mean, he was big, he was strong, he was Superman, and to 52 years old is young, and when a guy like that passes away and you just don't expect it. He's the kind of guy you think would live forever. I probably thought he could play football into his 50s. Honestly, of course that didn't happen, but it's just that it was a shock. To have that news, so really sad for his family and Cowboys Nation too. I've talked to Roy Williams yesterday, the safety. I talked to him a little bit. I saw Darren Woodson, and Nate Newton was out there today, and just really, really sad moment for the Cowboys. So I'm sure people might have some Larry Allen stories, or we might bring a few out, but I just wanted to pass along the condolences from our Cowboys StoryLine family to Larry Allen and his family. Just an unbelievably tragic, sad loss for the Cowboys for sure. All right, let's get started here. Michael in Colton, California.
What's going on, Nick? And shout out to the whole Cowboys Nation. And I just want to also, just to include what you were saying about Larry Allen, man. My thoughts and prayers are with the whole Allen family and condolences and all that, man. And, I really don't care about exposing my age, but I'm 38 years old and I got to see, the tail end of those Super Bowls and all that. And I remember, I went through the whole 5 straight 5-11 seasons and all, and I was still a true Cowboy, and I always have been, and growing up, the Cowboys were my squad. And even when they were, when they were straight 5 straight 5-11 seasons, you always had, it was always
Larry.
We still had Emmett. Yeah, Larry Allen and Emmitt Smith, the last of the Mohicans, and we would suck, man. And I'm sorry to put it that way, but just, being straight up about it. But we always knew, okay, Larry Allen and Emmitt Smith were going to be in the Pro Bowl, man.
Right.
And so, man, he was just always one of my favorite guys, man. And I was in shock when I heard the news yesterday. And like I said, my thoughts and prayers are with his family. And every year, for the season, I always get a Cowboy jersey for the season. And this year, man, I'm going to be rocking with the Larry Allen 73. And I just want to say shout out to a legend, And, that's pretty much it. I'll leave it at that. But God bless you all. And I just wanted to tell everybody, man, hold on to your loved ones, man.
Yeah.
You never know. And I don't want to get too deep with that, but God bless you all. And thank you for another, like I told you last time, thank you for a wonderful season. I'm looking forward to training camp, and I'll go ahead and hang up and listen. And you have a great day. You and Mr. Bean, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. All right, Michael. Appreciate that. Appreciate the call. Thanks for calling in just to say that. I don't know if you played baseball, Michael, when you were growing up, but you were probably the leadoff hitter because every time you're on, you're first. So I don't know how often you have to call to get there, but I appreciate that and really good words on what you said there. Let's keep it rolling here on the phone lines. Brian in Kansas City.
Hey, Nick, how are you,
Good,
sir?
Brian. How are you doing?
Oh man, sad day, my friend.
I know.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of us, I think we went back and seen some of the highlights and went back and watched y'all's Deep Blue and his Hall of Fame speech and listened to you talking on 105.3 The Fan yesterday. And that's the first thing that struck me was your first answer was the first thing we learned about Larry is we didn't know anything about Larry.
Yeah. Yeah, they asked that. They're like, what did you know about? Tell us about Larry the person. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't at all. I mean, that's what we knew is that he kept to himself. He was quiet. He was a shy person. I mean, he didn't have a lot of things to say. He didn't have confidence in articulating his words and thoughts like that, especially in front of cameras and things like that. He couldn't do that well, and that's not what he did. That's why his Hall of Fame speech was unbelievable, because we were talking about that when he was still playing. Like, how's this Hall of Fame speech going to go? And
16 minutes had to be a shocker.
Yeah, it was 14 and a half, more than I thought. I thought it would be a minute and a half. I thought he would wave. I thought he would kind of do that nervous laugh. I thought he would spit into his spit cup a couple of times, say thanks to everyone, and then laugh, and then kind of wave and go. And it was awesome. He was talking about how he met his wife. He's talking about his kids. He's just the pride that came out of that when he was talking about his kids. I'll tell you a little story later after the call here. Brian, go ahead with what you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I heard two great stories. So one from Garrett and one from Marcus Spears. I won't just retell them, but
yeah,
a quick one from Spears. I'll just give the highlights. He basically was, this is in the days where hazing was still kind of a thing with rookies, right? And nowadays maybe that doesn't go over so well, but he sent Spears on his when he was a rookie. He told him to go buy him a bottle of something, and he didn't know. Spears didn't know what it was. He said, I got to the liquor store, and he said, I knew I was in trouble when it wasn't on the shelf. It was behind the girl in a locked case, and she pulled it out, and it was $2,300. And Spears had to decide on the spot, was he going to go back the next day and face Larry Allen without this, or was he going to spend $2,300? And he's saying, this is the first real paycheck I ever had in my life. And he didn't do it, and he tells the story better than I just did. But, those little things in the what his wife cooked, made for him on their first date.
Yeah.
Those little things, those were the greatest stories that we hear from people, and I'm sorry that we heard them after the fact.
Sure.
It's just sad that this happens. And I certainly don't know what happened, but I'm certainly an advocate for mental health. If that played any factor here at all, I've heard some things. I have no idea. I have no more information than anybody else. But, we also lost Barbarian earlier in the year, and or maybe that was last year.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
Has it been more than a year already?
I think so. Yeah, it's been like 2. Yeah, he passed away, I think, in 2021 when there was about 12 different losses that year, former players and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a tough year.
It flies when you get older. Anyway, just a plug for mental health. There's help out there. For veterans, we lose 22 veterans a day to suicide. There is help out there. If you need help, please ask. And I'll hang up and listen to the story you mentioned, brother.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. Thank you. And again, I don't know all the details of what happened with that. I've heard certain things, but I don't know if they've come out, so I don't know. At the end of the day, you know, a legend has gone too soon. I do remember one time at practice, I remember somebody saying how big Larry Allen is. Look at him. I mean, look at his, you know, his arms, his legs, like even his calves. Look at his calves. Look how big his calves are. I mean, not his calf, his ankles. Look how big his ankles are. And it was like, I don't know if he really. And then we looked kind of closer and realized he didn't have big ankles. He had two things of skull on each side of his sock. He would put his dip cans, two. That just goes to show that just one wasn't going to get it done in the amount of practice. And so, yeah, he would. You know how many stories I've heard from players in the last couple of days about how he would spit, you know, like right where he's supposed to be. He would tell the defensive tackle, yeah, this is where I'm going to block, and he'd spit right there. And, I mean, you could always tell, you know, you could tell where he lined up, you know, just at practice, just from that. But that's one story. But another one, so when I was just starting off with the Cowboys in Wichita Falls, this was like 1999, probably 2000, I had a college friend that got a job in the operations department as an intern. So he got to be, you know, behind the scenes and go do all those things. And so we were at the bar that night, and he said, "Hi, I'm drinking for free every single night because of Larry Allen." I'm like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Every single night, Larry, right before he goes to a meeting at 8:30, they have a meeting, get out at 9. He gives this kid $50, $50 bill. Go up to, it was Carl's Jr. Go to Carl's Jr. down the street, get me 3 double cheeseburgers. It would cost like $9. Keep the change." So he got, 9 something, and he got $40 every single night. So he would come to the bar with two $20 bills. He was like, "This is on Larry every night." And he got 3 meals a day or whatever, snacks. But yeah, that's what Larry, wanted to eat at the end. And so, every single night, that was how he ended his day. I don't know if that was every night, but it seemed like it happened almost every time. So that's kind of funny when you think of it from that standpoint. So anyways, all right, let's keep moving here. Jeremy in Utah.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Yeah. So, bummer. I just kind of wanted to call in and talk about I had kind of the very first Cowboys game I ever went to it was a preseason game in '94 in Denver. And
okay.
I don't know if you remember the old Mile High, but they used to let you kind of go down on the field, like right next to the field before the game.
Really?
Yeah, especially like an hour or two before the game when the teams would come out and you'd have all the skill positioners and kickers and things like that out working. But when the offensive and defensive line showed up, everybody'd kind of go to the tunnel. And I remember seeing him come out. This would have been one of the very first games he probably ever played.
Yeah.
Because it was rookie season.
Right.
Just the enormity of, like, his upper torso, like shoulders and arms, was like one of the most amazing things I'd ever seen in my life. I couldn't. First of all, it was my first Cowboys game, and I'm seeing these guys. Yeah, at Denver. Yep.
Oh man.
Yep.
I don't want to burst your bubble. It was 95.
That was 95.
It's his second year. That's okay.
Okay, so it was his second year. I just remember seeing him and going, man.
Yeah.
That is a mammoth of a dude, and watching him play throughout the years, it was always cool to see. Everybody talks about him being the strong, silent type. That's what I kind of liked about him, is the guy never talked. You never saw him really say anything in the media. Just showed up, got his job done. Always had a dip in.
Yep.
That lunch pail kind of mentality, and it's really sad, and he'll be missed. And what a great player!
Yeah, there's no doubt. He was. Well,
not to break up the Larry Allen talk, but
okay.
Kind of wanted to get into some of the new stuff that's kind of going on with people panicking over CD not being there, and we've watched this played out every year, and it's just what it is it's just, you know, this national media catches. How many other teams have guys holding out or missing OTAs or missing, you know, mini camp that you never hear about because they're not on the Cowboys and they don't want to, you know what I mean? They don't care. Nobody cares, right? Yeah. And it's just, you hear it so much that it becomes part of the narrative for the fan base. And it's just, I just want to tell people, just don't buy into it. I'm sick of us. Everybody buys into it and thinks it's going to be this big thing. Remember when Dez held out? He eventually got done. You know, Dak a few years ago eventually got done. This thing will get done, and it'll get done the way it needs to be done. And because we're not on the inside, we don't know what's holding it up. You know, everybody blames Jerry and Steven, but it could be the agents. It could be a number of different things holding it up.
Yeah. No, it is, and you're right about that. It's not just one side; it's both sides, and they're trying to get it figured out. And I think there was one big domino now that fell with the Jefferson, and so I wouldn't be surprised if it happens, you know, soon. I mean, yeah, I would like to see CD here. You know, you'd like to but then again,
absolutely. But the world is not ending. The sky is not filing. He is not going to be playing in any other uniform this year. He will be playing for us.
Yeah,
he will be there week 1. Everybody calm down.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, I mean, I have one question for you because I'm not real sure on how these rules work as far as Micah goes. So when we have a first-round pick, and you get the first 4 years, right, and then you can take that 5th-year option, correct?
Right.
Then after that, you could
franchise him.
You could franchise him 2 more years. That's 7 years that a guy that you could potentially keep in the building. Now, not saying that's going to make Micah real happy.
No.
But you know what I mean? If worse came to worse, you still got options. You don't have to get Micah done this year, you know? You can get him done next year or even the year after that. So I don't know. It's just
true.
People worrying about all these contracts, you know. Let's worry about, like, watching football and cheering on our team and, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think people just get way caught up in the business side of it. And, I don't think that's the fun part. I don't know about you.
All right, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Appreciate the call. Thank you for throwing that insight in there. You know, you mentioned that about Micah, though. You know, yeah, you can wait. I mean, you're right. You could say the same thing about CD. You could have said that last year. Like, you don't have to sign him this year. You got 5th-year option on him. You don't have to sign him. But, you know, all he does is go and break records, and the price tag goes up and up and up. I mean, you know, he to the point where I'm sure he wants to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL. And I don't know if that would have been the case if you would have signed him last year. But that's what happens when you wait. Sometimes you wait. You know, you're talking about another All-Pro, another Pro Bowl, more records. And now the tag goes up, and that's the same could be said with Micah. Yeah, you can get this deal done now, and you know, but the other contracts will go on top of it, or you could just keep prolonging this thing and knocking it out. So, anyways, all right, let's hold on. I got another caller here in a second, but waiting on Josh Rodriguez coming in with the. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Wrong charger. Ask for the charger. Yeah, it's okay. That's all right. We're gonna fight through this thing. Yeah, that's for my phone. All right, appreciate it. I told him the wrong stuff. Seeing if my iPad can battle through here for the next 30 minutes or so. All right, let's go. Randy in Texarkana.
Hey, muchachos. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man?
Man, finally got in on time. Sad day, but I want to try to keep it on the lighter side, if that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine you doing it any other way.
Right. I always think about the happy parts. I know that it's sad, but try to think about the good parts. Everything will be all right.
Sure.
All right, so I've got an idea, and then we'll talk football real quick. My idea, I noticed you kind of mentioned that Mr. Derrick might cut you thin next year on ideas of having T-shirts and whatnot for all your people. So here's my idea. Narrow your team down a little bit and have everybody send you, whoever you name on the team, have them send you a from the waist up picture of themselves and make a team picture on a poster and just send out posters. That to me would be pretty hilarious and awesome to have a team picture. That way you also have faces to names, you know, and you can get your kid. I know you got a young kid, dude. They could probably build that thing before our conversation's over on the dang iPhone. I would assume that would be a relatively easy and cheaper way to go than the T-shirts, but that's just an idea.
I like it.
What,
it's not.
You like it?
That's not terrible. Yeah, it's not terrible. I'm still. I mean, I'm thinking about just narrowing the team down, anyways, and just still. I mean, I still like the T-shirts though. The T-shirts are nice. So, yeah, they're nice.
But you know, because I know the Dallas Cowboys are hurting for money. So since Derek's being really tight about that,
no, Derek's not being tight about it. Derek's not being tight about it. No, it's all
okay.
It's all
Gotcha. All right,
good.
So the football side of it, there's not too much to talk about. So I guess I'm going to try this. All right, so. What makes me excited about this upcoming season? And I know you'll be able to shoot holes in this, so just let me roll with it. If we say that the schedule is based off of what we saw last year, we all know the lineup is going to be really tough. All right? So, with that being said, and with the team that we have, I'm super excited whether we are good, because if you're good and you're winning, that's always exciting. That's a gimme. Even if we're bad, I want to say I'm excited because for the last handful of years, we've had that team that we don't consider a rebuild or a turning point, or it's just the team that we have that we're rebuilding and we're building and we're building and we're trying to get somewhere. I think this year is probably the first year we're going to have in a while where no matter which direction we go, I think this is going to be one of those turning point years where next year is just going to be different, one way or the other. And if we're good, then it'll be different because, hey, we're good and we did something we hadn't done in a long time. But if we're bad, there's going to be lots of change. It's going to be a turning point. We're going to see new leadership. We're going to see this. We're going to see that. So that'll be exciting to start fresh, something new. So either way, I kind of think you can find excitement in this year, whether we're good or bad. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I've done it my whole life. Yes, this is who you are as a fan. When I first started here was 1999. So my first 3 years after the newness wore off was 2000, 2001, 2002. I mean, I saw 15 wins. So I've always done that. I mean, you don't have to tell me how to do that, and most diehard fans, that's what you do. It's the cycle of a new football season that gets you excited. And so, I grew up watching the team in the 80s. I had heard that they were really good, when I was born, but I'm not really seeing it right now. I mean, that Danny White threw another pick or they lost to the Eagles or the Giants or whatever. So, yeah, I think the true fans, the diehard fans, they have no problem finding the things to cheer for and get excited about. And so, that's not really what it is. It's the kind of the casual fans that are like, nah, I mean, I've seen some of it on Twitter. Wake me up when the playoffs start,
Right, right.
Okay, it doesn't work that way, really, And I don't actually relate to that kind of stuff.
And you almost have to look at this. I know I ain't trying to get too deep, but you almost have to look at sports like life. Dude, you got to enjoy the journey to get there. Don't let it pass you by, because I'm speaking for myself. I'm 50 now. I feel like I'm supposed to still be 25. Dude, that flew by.
Yeah.
And I hated it when I was a kid and I'd hear my parents, oh, I'm getting old. It's going by so fast. Dude, they are 100% right. And when you blink, your kids are in college and you're now trying to get the closest park at the parking lot. I mean, it's just...
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's
know
fast.
What you mean. I definitely know what you mean. I went through a graduation this weekend, and I know exactly what you mean. That stuff happened. You find yourself doing what your parents did and all that. But, yeah, Yeah, that sounds good. All right, Randy, appreciate that. Appreciate the call as always. Always good perspective. Good stuff going on there with Randy. All right, I promise you we've got Josh Rodriguez on. I threw Chris a curveball. He doesn't know that he's dealing with phones now. He's going to move it around. Yeah. There we go. I figured, you went upstairs, got one charger, and then it wasn't the right one. It wasn't your fault. You went back and got another one. I was like, man, you're probably pretty tired anyways. I was like, let's put you on the air.
Too many stairs. Too many stairs.
I thought you might elevator that thing. You could.
Nah.
What?
Got to take the stairs when you can.
All right, Josh Rodriguez. If anyone that doesn't know, he was on last week with us, and he's officially, y'all announced today.
Yeah, we did.
You're on Talking Cowboys officially now.
Exactly. Latest member, permanent member of Talking Cowboys.
I saw John Machota at practice. I didn't realize that he had like a big footprint on his back. Y'all just kicked him right off the show. And said,
No, not
kidding.
quite.
I'm kidding. It didn't work out that way.
No, we love John.
Yeah, John. Yeah, it just didn't work out for his obligations there for the Athletics. So
yeah,
but
check him out and follow him on Twitter. He's great. He's always got the latest.
Well, he's got
next to us.
He's got every play of practice going on it. And he basically takes every play of practice.
He's kind of a cinematographer, if you will.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Our guys do that too. Nick Harris does that. Patrick Walker does that
when we're allowed.
Yeah, you do that too. Now that you'll be at practice now.
Well, now that I'm allowed to be
on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
I've kind of earned a spot out there.
Right. So today on y'all's show, you had Isaiah. Isaiah didn't play with Larry Allen, but y'all had a lot of Larry talk.
Not a lot. It was just a short segment, and just a quick ode to him and everything that he contributed to the Cowboys. And for my money, the best Cowboys lineman to ever put on the uniform. It's sad, obviously, but I think his legacy speaks for itself at this point.
I'll take you a step further on that. I think, and I'm writing this column. It'll go out today. I think you could really argue that he's the best player to ever play for the Cowboys. Like he could be.
It's hard to argue. It really is,
because
pound for pound, right?
Pound for pound, and everything that he was as at his position. I mean, I know that position doesn't get glorified the same as the others, but what other player in Cowboys history could you just say he's the best to ever play it in the NFL at his position?
At that position?
Maybe Deion, who played 5 years. Right. So he played 5 years, and
but through and through a Cowboy.
Yeah, and I'll argue this all day. Deion is as much of a Cowboy as he is any other team. So
this is true.
So I always hate that argument. Well, he wasn't really a Cowboy. Well, if he wasn't a Cowboy, then he wasn't anything, because he played more games with the Cowboys than any other team. Yeah. So Deion,
but to like the start and end. Yeah, I think that's the argument that people have. But I understand what you're saying.
So Deion, I think you'd say is the best corner, but I think Larry Allen for sure the best guard. He spent most of his time just about every year with the Cowboys. So no other.
He had 1 year, right? With
maybe 2.
2 years?
Maybe 2. I looked this up. He did make 1 Pro Bowl with the 49ers. But yeah, he was just what a stud.
What was your favorite Larry Allen play? Did you already speak on it?
Put it on the mailbag. It wasn't even a play. It was just something that's memorable when they're playing the 49ers back in 2005, and they had a bad snap on an extra point, and the kicker was named Jose Cortez, and he missed the extra point because the snap was low and the hold was bad, whatever. And he just starts yelling at the deep snapper or yelling at somebody. Larry Allen just walks right by him and just grabs him by the face mask and just yanks him, almost took him to the ground.
Yeah.
And just like, shut up, kicker. That's basically what he was saying. Probably shut the F up.
Maybe a little extra juice on it, for sure.
And then walked off. And that was Larry. Shut up.
I think running down that pick six is...
Oh, yeah.
That's the one.
It's kind of... I don't mean to say... I mean, it's kind of given.
Of course.
That was just... Okay, you're a freak. Cool.
Yeah.
You're big, strong, cool, but you run like that.
Alien.
Now, you know what else needs to be mentioned about that play? Troy's hauling ass now.
Yeah.
Troy is, I mean, he threw the pick, so he's pissed off.
Yeah,
too.
He's mad.
But, and he kind of saw it coming. Larry was just more flat-footed.
Yeah,
But, man, I thought Troy was hauling on that.
He was.
Yeah. You good? You getting up?
Yeah. My leg's a little sore.
You out? All right. Are you going to stay with us here?
No, I'm good.
Keep
Thank
it rolling.
you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Talking Cowboys.
Talking Cowboys.
Is there any more Talking Cowboys? Or
No.
That was it?
No, that's it.
That was it until we go to training camp.
Till camp every day basically at camp. I don't know. We'll figure out the schedule.
I think y'all go I think we all go every other day at training camp.
Every other day, something like that.
Something. We'll see what the new schedule brings. All right.
You'll figure it out when I
Josh
do.
Rodriguez, thanks for doing it. Thanks for giving me a charge here. Appreciate that. All right. We got a couple more callers right here on the line. Lewis in Langston, Oklahoma.
What's going on? What's going on?
You're going for that all storyline team, aren't you, Lewis?
Yeah, I told you. I'm telling you, might as well put my name on there. I'm calling in when I can.
Yeah. All right.
No, I wanted to call in and give my condolences to the Allen family and RIP to the big man. Great guy. I was younger when he was terrorizing everybody, so I really didn't see him like as much as the heyday like you would have, but like just watching a lot of videos of him, that man was a mammoth and he was hauling at any point in time. I love watching him play. I love watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and I listen to a lot of stories, so I'm not going to ask you what your favorite story is and all of this stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you probably done told it 1,000 times now. Yeah. But I was calling because I'm actually, thanks to Talking Cowboys, I kind of got a question about what's the new upcoming season. Who do you think, as far as coaches and players, are going to be under the most pressure this year?
Other than Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott?
Other than Mike McCarthy, other than Dak. We know those two, being on a one-year deal. And I honestly, not John Machota, but I think Josh said taking Zimmer out too, because, he's on a one-year deal. So, mainly assistant coaches and then like any player really, because without, like I said, Dak, we know he's under pressure. And I would say, honestly, if I had to say a player, it would be Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And I'm only saying that I know he's got the contract thing coming up next year, but with the not showing up to OTAs and, leader, no leader, whatever. If the guy comes up and shows and plays, to me that's a leader. Sometimes some leaders show it and don't talk it. They just show up and play. But just in general, just the guy to come and play defense and try to make an impact every game, not every play, but every game, I think he's under the most pressure because nobody showed up during the playoff game. Not just him, nobody did. So if you can show up every game and instead of doing all the Twitter talking about being defensive player of the year and all of that crap, that would be my guy. And then I would say the linebackers coach, I cannot for the life of me remember his name because outside of the veteran guys, you got a bunch of rookies and 2-year, 3-year guys.
Yeah. Scott McCurley is his name. Yeah,
Curly. Yeah. And so I would say he might be the best guy. The biggest guy, in my opinion, who would be under the most pressure. That's what I would say.
All right. That's an interesting question. Kind of hard to say that with assistant coaches. And I don't want to – thanks for the call, Lewis. Appreciate that. Let's keep the lines open here. 888-855-2297. Talking about pressure for the coaches, for the players. The thing about assistant coaches is when the answer is your head coach, that's the answer. It's the head coach. Everything else, everybody's under pressure, really. Because think about your special teams coach, John Fossil. Okay, he's a really great coach, and he's had a lot of success in his career. He's put kickers, punters, return specialists in the Pro Bowl here. He's done it everywhere he's been. Big year for special teams coaches. How are you going to do this kickoff rule? How are you going to, what kind of player are you going to put on the team, on the kickoff, on the return, on the returner, all this kind of stuff. So big year for that. But, let's say he has a great year. Let's say it's, outstanding. But the team doesn't have the success. There's a new coach next year. New coach comes in and says, oh, well, this guy's my special teams coach over here. This is a guy I've worked with 3 times in my career, and I like him. Well, then that's what happens, And so what I'm saying is that it doesn't really matter if you have success or not. when your head coach is under the microscope, all the coaches really are at that point. So I don't know if that's a bailout answer, but that's kind of the way I see it. It doesn't really matter at that point if it doesn't go well. But and as for players, Micah, that's a good answer, Micah Parsons. But pressure for what? Like pressure for getting a huge deal, getting a great deal. I tend to kind of take it down a notch instead of talking about the best player on your team or the top 2 or 3 players on your team. I mean, what about number 50, 55 or so, 56 on your roster? I mean, that I'm not talking about number. I'm talking about where you are on the team. Like, second or third year guy, and you're trying to show you could still be an NFL player. An Israel Mukwamu or Nashawn Wright or somebody like that, where you were drafted 3 years ago and you're trying to show that you're better than these young guys here. And if it doesn't work out, then what? There are players that are going to go to training camp and go to preseason and try to play in the preseason. And if it doesn't work out on the last game of preseason, that might be the last game they ever play. That seems like pressure to me. Because then what? Then you go into a different career. So, yeah, I mean, you could say Dak and CD and Micah, but if they don't have great years, then their contracts, are not going to be, they're just going to be in, a few million less than what it would be before, as opposed to players that are playing for their life. They've played football their entire life, and if they don't have a great training camp or preseason, it's over. And you might be doing something completely different next year. That seems like pressure to me. So that would be my answer to that. All right, Michael in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
I'm sure many people have talked about the Hall of Famer, the bench press king, Ring of Honor man, Larry Allen. I think this season when the Pro Bowl happens, they have the bench press. It should be the Larry Allen bench press.
No doubt.
Challenge or whatever you want to call it, but it should have Larry Allen on it. I mean, he was definitely the bench press man. Good Lord.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, 52, that's just way, I had a heart attack at 53.
Oh.
And a 50-50 shot of making it through the surgery, and since I was a runner, they said my heart was strong enough, so that's 2.5 years ago.
That's good. Good to hear that. But, yeah, you never know. I mean,
you never know.
And you just don't know what was going on with Larry. I mean, he didn't go to Ring of Honor things, when they would have stuff here at the stadium. And he just hadn't seen him. I really haven't seen him since his son was on the team. And I can't remember the year, guys, probably 5 years ago. When his son, Larry Allen Jr., was on the team for training camp. And we saw him out in California. And he looked pretty good. Looked good out there. But hadn't seen him much since then. So you just don't really know what was going on.
Yeah. All right. So $35 million, that's the starting price now, isn't it? For
CD?
CD? Yeah. How fast do you think they'll get that done?
I thought it would be done. I think it'll be done at some point. I don't know if that. I don't know. Does it have to be the starting point? I mean, is it? I mean, his numbers aren't better. His numbers really aren't better than Jefferson.
He could make he could make a little under. I mean,
but
maybe make just a little bit under and maybe like a little bit less guaranteed. And I mean, he should be happy. Huh?
Yeah. That's probably the sticking point there. Is are you do you want to be the highest paid? And that's why you don't want to go first, because if you go first, then you're going to get jumped here in a little bit. But I mean, Jefferson's numbers, they are a little bit better. They're close, but when you look at the amount of games, and that's what's tricky too, because you can average this out by and I don't have it in front of me. I probably should, but I don't have those numbers right in front of me. But I know that average wise, Jefferson's numbers are better because he's done similar stats in less games. But you also need to factor in, why has there been less games? Let's don't penalize the player that's staying healthy and getting on the field. So, I think at the end of the day, I think the numbers should be very, very similar. I think the contract should be very similar there, and maybe they give him the exact same deal. Who knows?
If CD didn't have a slow start last year, his numbers would have been much different.
Yeah.
When's the show start back up? I think you're doing one Thursday. But
I'll do a last one Thursday. That might be the last show we do overall until we go to training camp. God, I think it's the Tuesday. It's either July 23rd or 24th or something like whatever that Tuesday is right there. I may be wrong on that, but maybe the 25th. Whatever day it is, we leave on a Tuesday, and then we'll see. We'll probably have. Chris can chime in here if he wants.
All right, first show for everybody. Write this down. The 24th will be our first show for training camp.
Camping out.
Camping out will be our first show.
We'll have a show out there where we'll have different people from different podcasts out there by the golf course with a lot of mosquitoes out there and flies. With marshmallows we're probably not gonna do the marshmallow thing again. That didn't work out. I almost ruined all the equipment.
Yeah.
Thanks, Patrick. And then so we'll
25th will be the first normal show day.
I'll probably be in on that.
Yeah. Nick will be in on that.
I'm gonna what's the rotation? And I know Derek will be like, okay, I'll start off. We'll be first, and then and I'll jump in there too. I don't even know the time slot for me yet, but it might be early. we might go
trying.
Early. We'll see. I don't know. We got phone lines though, right? Right, Chris? We might have phone lines. We're working on that. We're working on phone lines.
We are working on phone lines. I have something here that's going to try to do phone lines for us.
But I had players last year too. That was cool. So I might get the opportunity to have players. So if there's a way I can get players and a good time slot and not be
and phone calls
and phone calls and not bake in the sun, if we can do it all, we'll figure it out. Anyways, we're just kind of talking here, having a meeting right here with you on the line, Michael.
Hey, I had one more thing.
Okay.
All right. On the whole, start them, set them, cut them. You got CD, you got the playmaker, and you got Dez. Who you cutting out of there?
Dez.
You cut Dez?
Yeah.
Figure he's already been cut one time, may as well do it again. Well, who you starting? CD or play? I'm starting
playmaker. He'd probably cut
playmaker.
me, so I'll cut him. I'm just kidding.
I'm starting to playmaker.
I mean, okay, but you're also ranking. But I just said that because it's easy to say. But I mean, rank the 88s of all time. I mean, you can put Pearson in there too. That's basically what it is. It's just ranking those players.
Yeah.
So I mean, Michael Irvin was just the heart and soul of the football team. Michael Irvin was the epitome of a leader, and it wasn't always leading the right way. I mean, let's be honest about some of the things. So there was other players. It wasn't just Michael Irvin that was getting in trouble off the field. There was a lot of players, and I'm sure he was leading the way on some of that. So leadership isn't always your best thing. Terrell Owens was a leader. There's some players in that locker room, wide receivers in the wide receiver room that looked up to him and followed him. That wasn't always a good thing. So leadership isn't always the greatest thing in the world, but Michael, I think, found a way to overcome it. I think he was a great leader in positive ways, sometimes negative, but mostly positive because he worked so hard. He worked so hard. So the leadership you get with Michael Irvin is hard to beat. CD is just playing out of his mind with and the way the stats are now with receivers, a passing league. I mean, he's just thrashing all these records. But nobody was more clutch than Drew Pearson. I mean, think about the history of the Cowboys and all these great moments. Drew Pearson's a part of a lot of them. So,
the Hail Mary.
Hail Mary. Not just the Hail Mary.
Part of that.
Yeah, the catch before that.
Yeah.
Dorsett 99-yard run. He's not getting there without Drew Pearson down there blocking.
Yep.
I mean, Pearson's got a lot of plays. So you got clutch moments. You got stats. You got heart and soul. Not to be taken away, I mean, Des Bryant was a freak of nature, too. He was unbelievable, especially early in his career. I think it got up to him, it kind of caught up to him as his career went on. where he didn't necessarily take that next level of, all right, I'm going to be this type of player. I'm going to be more of a route runner and kind of figure out ways to stay in the league a little bit longer. You couldn't just go out jump everyone anymore. And when that happened, it was probably harder for him to stay in the league and kind of be as productive as he was before. But, when he was on his game, he was just better than the cornerback in front of him. And that was always fun to watch. So all four of them are great. I mean, in their own way. So.
All right, it's always a pleasure.
All right, thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Let's go to Ali in Florida.
Unbelievable, especially early in his.
Ali.
Hey, going up to him as his career.
How are we doing? I hear myself.
Pretty good, buddy. How are you? Oh, hi, Nick. How are you?
Hi.
I'm sorry. I was just listening to the show.
You're
I
good.
forgot. Couple things. First of all, happy birthday to Camilla.
Thank you.
And you tell her if she ever want to come to Florida, I can set up the place. She can swim with the dolphin. I don't know if she's old enough or not, but I can arrange that.
Whoa. Time out. Camilla, we go to Florida. She can go to Disney World. I'll let Dylan in North Port, Florida. He can take her to Disney World. Wait, you swim with dolphins, or you can do that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, actually, it's a park. I do a lot of marketing for Disney, and then I have access. And then they have a special park. You can go swim with the dolphin it's a very private for families. Then they provide you food and beverages, and you have all morning on the appointment. Then you and your wife, your children, and they either touch it or they can swim with it. Sometimes they get a ride on back of the dolphin and everything.
So like a real dolphin, you're not just letting me go swim with like Dan Marino. Like, I mean, we're talking like.
No, honest to God, you can swim with the dolphin. I have just one thing, I have access to a lot of fun places in life.
Yeah,
so
sounds like it.
If you ever scared to come to Disney World, please don't be. I live here as a Cowboy fan. I can set you up, set up the best place for you and your family, and then go in there, give you what to do, where to go, and where not to go, And you're going to be a hero with your wife.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a lifetime member of the Cowboy Storyline team already in effect right here. We haven't given out lifetime pass.
Yes, seriously, I love the children. I do a lot of, and I just sent a picture to Chris to give it to you. It's a baby tiger I brought from Nepal. Actually, that baby tiger is in the animal kingdom. I do a lot of endangered species. Make sure you give it to her tonight as a Cowboy fan as her birthday present.
Nice.
Go
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry about the Larry Allen. I swear, when I heard that, my heart sank. I didn't expect it. And one of the greatest games I saw from him, I believe they were playing Indianapolis Colts. One half, he dominated everybody there. It was just like such a great competitor. And I listened to the little footage you guys had on the Cowboys the website. The guy is such a gentle giant. God bless him. And I hope his family and his daughter, everybody in peace. I keep him in my prayer. And I love you, buddy. Miss you. And then thank you for all you do. And go home and hug your children because the life sometimes is too short.
Right. You're exactly right. Thank you, Ali. Thank you for the call. Chris, sounds like Ali can hook us up to Disney World.
I know.
Yeah, because you got to take a producer. You can't just take, the host. You got to take the producer because, the show doesn't start without the producer. So, interesting.
No, Ali can take you a lot of places, let me tell you.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of friends around the country.
If you want to go swim with the dolphins.
World.
If you want to go to a volcano, you can go do that and take photos of it. That's pretty awesome. And it's funny he said that about the tiger. Y'all could have seen me last night. I told
Check your email.
Huh? Check my email.
I just sent you the Tigers.
Oh, well, last night, I'm assistant coach for my son's team.
Oh, yeah, the Tigers.
We're the Tigers. And I swear to you, the shirt that I've got, I mean, it was like I got dipped in Sunkist, okay? It was the orangest thing you've ever seen. Tigers on the front. And we lost the game, but whatever. But still, it was cool. So now I'm getting a little picture of a baby tiger. Good stuff. All right, I just referenced Dylan, Northport, Florida. I swear to you, I didn't even know he was on the line. I just referenced, and now he's here. I was like, hey, Dylan, he goes up to Disney World. He knows what's going on.
Oh, yeah, man. We're at Disney World like every other month. I got another trip coming up in July, so maybe I don't know. Ali, he's like the most interesting man in the world. Disney, Iceland with volcanoes, dolphins, tigers.
Yes. Yeah. Ali and Randy and Rob, all you guys. I mean, you guys are so interesting, but it is so funny how. That's what I love about this. It's like everybody's got this connection. It's that they love the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are, give them misery sometimes and excitement all the time. But they just come from all over the world. That's what's so cool about it.
Wait till we have the all StoryLine team party.
Oh, all StoryLine team party on a volcano. Shot by, with, I don't know. Dylan sounds like if he goes to Disney all the time. You got any job applications for where you work? I mean, if you're at Disney all the time, I mean, you're doing okay. So
I sell wind turbines, man. It's a weird industry. So yeah.
All right.
But yeah, no, Larry Allen, it's my favorite moment too. I think Ali just said it. I had to mute it. So I think he was talking about the Colts and the drive with John Madden giggling like a schoolgirl. That was a really cool moment. So rest in peace to Larry.
Yeah.
I want to talk about CD's contract just real quick. This will be my last call. I'm not going to call on Thursday. I'll give somebody else the time to call in since it's the last episode. So just real quick, thank you for this, I guess, quote-unquote school year. It's like the school year is ending, and we're all going to come back in our cool StoryLine shirts and our new haircuts and new kicks and all that. So, thanks for this really awesome season.
Yep. We'll get those shirts sent out this week, actually. I'm going to let Chris help me with that. So what do you got, Dylan?
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee and JJ, they were always going to be tied together, like with their contracts. There's a reason both of them have taken so long to do anything. They weren't signed back in March. They're represented by the same agency, different agents. But as far as my understanding goes, the NFLPA encourages these agents to collude and collaborate and try to drive up the numbers as much as they can. So there's so much more to this thing than just Jerry reaching out and saying, hey, I want to offer this guy, $30 million a year. There's way more to that. You've been talking about how it takes two to tango this whole time. And I think a lot of it really falls on the agents, and they just don't get a lot of the quote unquote blame, I guess. And to really put this whole thing in perspective, I would rather be in the position the Cowboys are in right now with three superstar players that it's like, wow, these numbers are going to be just extraordinary. Than it be the opposite, where you have all this cap space and no talent, and you're like, man, who can we get in here with all this money to help us out? It's like these guys have drafted so well that they're in such a tough position now with the cap. And yeah, they probably could have maybe been a little more proactive, maybe. I mean, we don't really know, especially like I said with the agents, but these guys have drafted so well, and that's why they're in the predicament they're in now, and I'm not going to blame them for that at all. So good job, Jerry and co, for putting this thing together the way they have.
Yep. Yeah, I mean you're right, and you're right what you said about the agents too. I mean they're a huge part of this, especially when they're kind of dictating the market a little bit, especially at wide receiver with kind of holding the cards on two of these players. So yeah, it's
well, what's the benefit for them to sign early? It's like there's no benefit to that. They know they're going to be the highest paid, the two of them. So why would they sign before everybody else? It makes no sense.
Right. So. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm not too worried about it. I wouldn't be worried about it at all. But you'd like to get the guy here. You'd like to have him working here. And so they don't just show up at training camp and kind of have a slower start a little bit. You'd like for them to kind of get things going here, but at the same time, just keep working out, be healthy, and get ready to roll when it really counts.
Yep. All right, Nick. Have a good break, man. Appreciate it. Talk to you later.
Dylan. Talk to you at training camp. Let's go to Irene in Virginia. Keep it rolling. Oh. Irene.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I cannot match Ali at all with any offers. But do you need to sell a house? So let me know.
All right.
Anyhow, well, I mostly wanted to call just to say, Larry Allen, I'm also 38. I heard Michael's call in Colton, California. So kind of the same thing. I mean, he was always there. And actually, to be honest, I thought he was there earlier than that. But no, he came for the last Super Bowl, it looks like.
Right.
And I've seen the clips and all that. And you guys have talked about a lot of stories. But I honestly just wanted to say, and I know it's like us, those random fans, but you see Darren and you see Nate and a lot of people in the building, but just let them know that we're thinking about them too. And of course, Larry's family and friends. But
right.
I know that has to be very difficult. It's difficult just as a fan, but we didn't play with him. We didn't bond with him over training camp and all that kind of stuff that, makes people a family. We talk about our StoryLine family, but we're not hitting each other every day and chopping it up for 12 hours a day.
Right.
In the heat of things, with 2 days. But I just wanted to say that. As far as CD goes, in the past I would have been freaking out, I think, but I'm like, it just goes like this at this point. I was one that wanted Jerry to leave Zeke in Cabo, and I loved and still do love Zeke, but I was like, you're losing all your leverage if you don't let them lose a game check. Like, call their bluff.
Yeah.
But
yep.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to even get close to that with CD. So I'm not too worried. Just wanted to say that. And I called in because Travis said, hey, last week all StoryLine team needed to call in. So we didn't hear Travis yet today. I don't think. I might have missed a couple.
No, I haven't.
But hopefully he calls in Thursday.
Yeah.
But that's it. Just wanted to wish my condolences to the players that you see more often. Just let them know we're thinking about them in this too. All right.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for calling, and you're always great for the group of the StoryLine, Irene. You're always thinking about others and referencing other people on the team, and kind of sounds like y'all even have like y'all connect on social media apps and things like that. That's really cool. That's the person I need to talk to when the show has to move. I should just say, I just need to get a hold of Irene and just be like, Irene, hey, let everyone know. Let the group know. Because Twitter doesn't seem to work for everybody, but let the group know for sure. I was just saying to myself, like, I was looking at the list, I was like, I don't think we've had a first-time caller. We haven't had a first-time caller in a while. Maybe a couple shows that I remember. I haven't heard the Dak call that often. But here we got Eric, Klein, Texas. Eric?
Colleen. Yeah, man.
First-time caller?
First time this season. I'm actually a teacher, and it's my first time getting to get in this summer. So, and y'all are about to go on break. What's up with that?
Counts. There you go. About to get in right at the end. Doesn't matter though. Doesn't matter. You're in.
Right.
What's on your
So
mind?
I haven't gotten to listen to the show at all today. I'm sure there's been Larry Allen talk, but can I share my first memory of him real quick?
Sure, of course.
Okay. So I'm 37. I caught just the tail end of the great '90s teams, but I vividly remember being at my grandpa's house watching with him and my dad when Larry did the bench press lift on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And the announcers just losing their minds. And I remember we had just started like middle school weights, and the idea that bar was bending like a noodle just blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then playing that and just getting to hear the voice of John Madden talk about big Larry Allen blowing people over was awesome too.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to wake up actually yesterday morning and have my dad was the one that sent me the message saying that Larry had passed. And it's like, wow, crazy.
Yeah.
But moving on for stuff this year, again, I don't know what you all talked about today, but I did hear about the proposal for the off-season changing and kind of just shifting everything into June and July instead of having the break they kind of do now. And I was kind of wondering what your thoughts on that were. If that'd be a better way, if there's a different way of doing that, that would be better than what we do now, or that. Like, what are your thoughts on changing the off-season program going into training camp?
Are you talking league wide? You talking like for the league to not have a little break like this going into it?
Yeah, because I know that I think the NFLPA had said that they wanted to change the way that it had been done, so there wasn't such a big gap between mini camps and training camp or something?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think of it like school, and I've never been one. I mean, you kind of just know what you know, and so you hear about year-round schools, and some teams do that. I've never liked that. I've always hey, you get a summer break. Let's take the break, get recharged, do whatever you need to do, get your tan, do whatever you're gonna do, go on your vacations, and then come back and get ready to go. And so that's probably what that's what I've always been used to. So it's kind of the same with football. I mean, they're going to take a break here, and it'll be 6 weeks. It's not like it's entire month. It's not like it was when we were kids, where it was like all of June, July, and August, and then you start on Labor Day. It doesn't work like that. And so now it's like it's going to be early June, and they'll be back doing these things in the end of next month. That's 6 to 7 weeks. That seems fine to me. Get your vacations in, do what you've got to do, recharge the batteries, and get ready to go. I don't really think that it should change, personally. What about you? Okay. Do you? I mean, I don't have the answer. I just, this is the way they've done it, and I get it. This isn't always, it's not always like this is how you have to do it, because they used to play football without helmets. So I mean, things have changed. I get that. I just don't see necessarily the reason to stretch it out. Is it just because they just want to keep football going the whole time? I don't know.
Well, it's funny you say that it's kind of like school. I just mentioned I was a teacher. Like, I do see some of the drop-off when you don't use the skills for 2 months or whatever, academically. But I'm with you. These guys are killing themselves every week. You can't do it for a year straight. You have to take a break. You have to let your body, your mind, all that recharge.
Right.
And you have to give these guys a chance to enjoy a little bit of life that they're killing themselves for while they're still able to be mobile, So it's a tough one. The thing that does hurt me, I guess, like as a younger fan, is hearing these players like Nate saying, we had these two-a-days and we were ready, and, now they barely ever practice because of all these new rules put into place. Like, so I know there's that push and pull of getting them ready so there's less injuries and better football, but then those guys also need to be able to walk when they're past 50. So,
or live.
It's a tough balance. Yeah, or live. Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Dang, man.
So I'm not trying to be funny about that at all. I'm just saying, we're seeing some of these things. It's not all players. Some players are in great shape and all that, and it's all about how they take care of themselves. I get it, but this whole talk about back in my day, we did this, and this, and it's like, yeah, but and now it's tough on them, and so you want them to be able to play football until it's time to move on, and then get into another career, whether it be maybe broadcasting or coaching or whatever it is, and be able to do that and have a healthy lifestyle. So I applaud the NFL and the NFLPA for tweaking it. Maybe they think that is better. Maybe there's studies, and I don't know this, maybe there's studies that when you come back after a break, you have to do way more conditioning to get started. And you have to do, maybe reteach things, and you're going at a pace where it's a little bit tougher to maybe stay healthy because you've taken the breaks. That maybe there's more injuries if you do it that way. If that's the case, I don't know. I've always kind of liked it the way it is, but if there's a better way for it, I'm for it. I just don't know the answer to all that, honestly.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. I hope that you enjoy your time off, and I'll get back with you guys when you're in training camp.
All right, sounds good. Eric in Klein, Texas. We'll add him to the list of our storyliners. All right, Danny in Northern California.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Well, I'm good. I think the last time we talked, that was after the debacle with the Green Bay Packers. But I just want to say I enjoy the show. And I appreciate you taking the call. And I just want to say, send my condolences out to Larry Allen's family. And because when one hurts, we all hurt. And
where's Northern? I mean, you say Northern California. Where is that in relation to where he grew up? Right? Didn't he grow up, or at least went to college?
He grew up in Compton. That's
right.
L.A. That's Southern California. But I'm 20 minutes from De La Salle, where his son went to school.
Okay.
De La Salle. And I'm right around Oakland. I'm right outside of Oakland and San Francisco. And and all that, maybe 20 minutes from all that stuff.
Yeah, Sonoma State is where he went to school, so yeah, that's kind of up in there, right? Napa area.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that's why. So one of the things that I'm thankful for that the 49ers did get him.
Yeah.
Because he was right in there. I don't know how Bill Walsh missed him, but he missed him.
Yeah.
And I think my greatest thing that I remember besides that rundown is the day he got even with Reggie White.
Yeah.
Because we know that first time he had his way with Larry Allen.
Yeah, yeah.
But when he came back that day, remember the Eagles? I can't think of that game, what day it was, but the Eagles and the Cowboys got into a fight. Michael Irvin went over there on the sideline and let them know it was our house. And Larry, but that day, even when he was dominating, when Reggie White was dominating, John Madden said, Larry Allen was going to be a great player in this league today, but today is not his day.
Right.
But that revenge came around, and that always stuck with me, you know.
Yep.
But, man, I miss the big guy, and I'm just thankful for what he did for the team and everything. And so, man, like I said, I'm just hurting for the be so young because I'm 65 years old and he's 52, you know. So it kind of resonates with you and make you think about a lot of things, you know.
Sure, it definitely does, especially when you talk about him and Reggie White, you know, two players both, you know, that passed away way too soon.
Yes, that's right. But he took that preacher to church that day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he did. But yeah, because earlier that 94 game and Thanksgiving, I mean, he threw Larry Allen farther than any pass Jason Garrett threw that day, I believe, which is not true. It's actually not true because Jason Garrett, it was bombs away in the second half, just like his wife said to do. Brill said it right before he left for the house, said, hey, Jason, don't worry about it. If you get in trouble, throw it up to Alvin. And that's what he did a couple of times. What a great game that one was, Packers Cowboys. A lot of stuff going on there. But yeah, all right. Well, all right, Danny. You got anything else?
I just want to say I'm gonna try to bring the grandkid down to Oxnard this year, and looking forward to meeting you guys face to face and let him get started with his Cowboy tradition and everything. And I just appreciate everything. And by the way, what about Flint-Roy, that wide receiver that we drafted in the 6th round? What is the story on him? I haven't been able to do my work on him.
You know what's interesting about Ryan Flournoy is that he's 2 months younger than CeeDee Lamb. I was fascinated by that. He's a rookie, draft pick, and he's 2 months younger than CD. CD's going into his 5th year, so 5th year option. It's just funny how that kind of stuff goes. The COVID years in college, the transfer portals, and all that. Flournoy had moved around a little bit, but he played at Southeast Missouri State. Got a heck of a baseball team apparently, and but he played football for them, and he was, athletically he's off the charts. Now we'll see what happens when you face NFL corners. You didn't get that all the time, but you also get NFL quarterbacks throwing you the ball too. So he had to learn to be a bad ball catcher. It'll be a great jump up for him, but athletically he's got a lot of traits that you like. So that'll be fun to watch and see what he does in preseason.
I think that's going to be my guy to watch this year because they say he's kind of built like, what's the name for the 49ers, Deebo Samuels. And if he got that speed and that body build, he should be able to run over some people. So hopefully he'll have a good season, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. You see these highlights and he's running over people, running by them, and you're like, all right, well, that cornerback for this Missouri college is probably not going in the NFL. And, that's the way it is. I mean, Randy Moss did that at Marshall, and he was running by people, and he did it in the NFL too. I mean, it happens, and it doesn't always happen the other way. So time will tell. Like we'll figure it out. Preseason, training camp, one-on-one drills almost every day. Yeah, we'll get to see what he can do for sure.
Okay, then. Well, appreciate you, Nick, and thanks for taking my call.
All right,
be safe, and hopefully I'll see you in Oxford.
All right, thank you, Danny. Good luck getting down there to camp. And I say this to him. I say this to anybody. If you're at training camp, say hello. It's always fun to walk the fence and get a chance to talk to fans and especially fans of the show. That kind of will stop us and chat with us a little bit. And I know fans have said that's a really cool thing for them, and which I appreciate, but it's a cool thing for us too. Really is. Sometimes you get caught up, and not so much with this show because we get the interaction, but when I was on other show, when I was on the break or any other podcast, sometimes you get kind of caught up in just that it's just us in this room. We're just talking, just the guys talking, or we're just talking football or whoever, and you kind of forget sometimes that people are listening, all over the world, and that could be a good thing because it just kind of goes how conversationally it can be. But for this show, obviously, I get 11 times today that I get calls in, so that's always fun. You don't lose sight of it there. But it is kind of cool sometimes to be walking and somebody recognizes you and says, "Oh, hey, I love the show," and you're like, "Oh, there's people that listen all over the time." Over the years, that's gotten really cool, and you get a chance to meet people, and that's what I got to do better of is remembering. Like, "Oh, I met you last year." You're like, "Oh, yeah, I remember." Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but it's really fun to get a chance to chat with people at training camp. We may even do something kind of fun where we put a camera out there and do some of our show. We've talked about doing that before. That was before we got a phone line, but now that we got our phone lines, I think we're going to have our phone lines ready to go. That's going to be great for us to be out there in Oxnard and be able to do that. And we'll see about getting some players on. If that can happen, then that'll be amazing for sure. So, all right, one more show before we take our break for the summer. That will be on Thursday at 1 o'clock regular time. That'll be our final show for StoryLine, final podcast altogether before we take that break. And I'm sure Chris Beam will be loving that for sure. Appreciate all the calls today. Great stuff for Chris Beam, Josh Rodriguez for giving me both of my Chargers. Appreciate that. And we will see you on Thursday, Cowboys Storyline. See ya.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?